Thank you. Okay. Let me pop out the chat. Put it in this window. Scroll it down. Live chat. Watch out. Hang on. Okay. And there we go. About a minute before going live, I got a visitor. You can see Rex here. He decided he wanted to be on my lap. I didn't have enough cat hair on me already, so he will hang out for a little bit, and then he will decide that he is bored and wants to go someplace else. Probably try to climb on something, won't you? Yeah. Or you'll bite me because you're a jerk. Mm-hmm. Dino, how you doing? Golf Popo, how you doing? Jebbies, happy Sunday from Ottawa. Hopefully everyone's doing well and having a pleasant weekend. I hope so too. Dragonfire, morning from Quebec. Good morning from Toronto. How you doing? Bradley, finished up some fire dragons today. Nice. Morning from Quebec City. Kitbash, my favorite subject. Nice. Happy time of day from Newton. Willows, currently building my dreadnought from the Legio Custodes box. Nice. No, you can't go on the desk. It's covered in stuff. Ow. No bites. Everybody say hi to Rex. He's going now. Bye. Come on. Oh, jeez. No. Thank you. Okay. No, you can't come back. That's the way it works. What are you doing? That's how it works. I don't make the rules. You're just going to stand there and look at me? Okay, you're back. All right. Let's see here. Evening from South Korea. How you doing? Rodney, how you doing? Allergy-laden Oklahoma. Yeah, I'm also still stuffed up. Billy Noir, coffee time. Good morning from Union County, Georgia. Indoor hobbying on a cool, wet morning. It has been wet nonstop here. Good morning from Drizzly, Washington, D.C. Working on finally organizing my hobby room. Pray for me. Well, I hope that everything goes well. Sergeant Major 22, good morning. Morning from a slightly chilly... Hey, don't hit the microphone. Middle Tennessee. How you doing, Buzzragog? Morning from chilly Southern Ontario. Listening while working on the Uncle Lens Flare miniature. Nice. Morning from my sunny Milwaukee. Finally, no rain for today. Yeah, no, I think we're not going to have any rain, but it's not sunny. Let's see here. Naples, Italy. Love to find players in the area. Very cool. Cutie Pyrex. Oh, he's adorable. All right. Afternoon from the French Alps, enjoying some Magic the Gathering before going back to painting Tabletop World Brewery. Ooh. Morning from snowy Saskatchewan. Got 10 inches on Thursday and Friday. Should be 20 Celsius this week, and then more snow afterwards. Yeah, we got this was a month ago or whatever. We got 2 feet of snow, and then it was really warm right after, and then everything was damp, and then it just rained for a month. And so, we haven't had any flooding here necessarily, but there have been plenty of towns nearby that have definitely had evacuations. So it's not been great. Let's see here. Morning from Atlanta. Morning from Southern California. One and only time seeing Newton LeWillows referenced on YouTube. Oh, wow. Good morning from cool but sunny Jonesboro. Blessed with a Rex visit. I mean, blessed is maybe a strong word. I don't know. He's just being a wackadoo right now. He just wants to rub on everything, and it's no biting. No more biting. That's it. Time for you to go. Come on. Go. Shoo, shoo, shoo. There you go. Come again when you can't stay so long. All right, bye. Go eat something. Jeez. He gets a little bitey sometimes when he's, I don't know, overstimulated or not stimulated enough. I'm not sure which. Central Finland. How you doing, Six Gunner? Austin. Let's see here. You came back. You're not supposed to come back. Do I have to kick you out of the room completely? I don't have... You can't... Come on. Come on. You're going to have to go hang out with your sister. Come on. No. Hang on. Come on, bud. Yes, I know. Hi, Carl. Okay. All right, now serious business, or whatever. Anyway, let's see here. Southern California, Finland, Austin, Pocket Dimension. How you doing? Good evening from the west coast of Australia. Just got a new tattoo today. Sore but happy. Nice. I've got 3 tattoos I need to get, and I think this summer I'm going to get at least one. Good morning from North Carolina. How you doing? GM'd a 40K RPG campaign yesterday. It was a blast. Got to use minis I never used. Nice. Do you recommend any saws, blades to cut miniatures? I'm planning to straighten the ATRT ARF driver into a trooper. So that's actually very interesting. So I was watching a video recently, and they were talking about, or they were using a saw blade to cut many people call it a puddle base, and it's just they don't do it in Games Workshop, but in some, like Reaper sometimes does it. Frostgrave models do it, but Stargrave models don't. But they'll have this little oval base underneath the feet that's like integrated into the model, right? And because I like to put them on regular GW style bases, I don't want that thing there. So it's kind of a pain to clip it all away. And I was watching a guy in a video recently who cut it away with like a razor saw. So I was like, oh, I should get myself a razor saw. So I go online and I ended up getting this one, which showed up a couple days ago. And it was like, oh, okay, this should probably work. It's made by a company called Huron. But I was like, they also showed another razor saw by a company called Tamiya. Now, Tamiya makes hobby stuff all the time. It's like they're the generally #1 manufacturer of the thin plastic cement. Like Tamiya makes a lot of stuff that's for like Gundam and all kinds of things like that. So they also had a razor saw. And I was like, oh, well, it's probably pretty good, so I'll order it and see, and it showed up the same time. I didn't realize how big it was. I don't think that this is for miniatures. This is for arborists, I believe. This is monstrous. Like on the picture in the back, they show the person cutting a model car in half or a piece of wood. And I'm like, why is this so big? What? The blade is bigger almost than the entire package. The other thing came in, and it doesn't look like it's a razor in this situation. I don't know. So I'm thinking about returning it. I don't know. Maybe my wife can use it, but yeah, so something like this. Don't get this one unless you need to cut really big miniatures in half, but something small. It also, what it means is that at any time when you buy something on Amazon, you should always check and see if they tell you what size it is. Like not like clothes, but is it, how many inches long is it, or centimeters or whatever. So yeah, that thing's huge. Cats are funny. Oh, they're funny. All right. Afternoon from Puckle Church. How you doing? Kyle from Clouded Amsterdam. Metal Grenadier Barbarians and a table for weapon conversions. Nice. I think you may indeed make the rules. I wish I did. Central Vermont. How you doing? Going from Kent, Ohio. Building the 2-player starter set for War Machine after watching your recent video about entry starter sets for wargaming. Nice. You are furniture. It is the curse of we cat custodians. I wish that they would sit on my lap when I'm watching television. That's all I want. I just want a cat to come sit on my lap when I'm watching television. It so rarely happens. When I sit in front of the computer, whoa, they are interested in getting in my lap then. Oh my God. If I'm fighting with something like, I can't figure this out. That's when Maggie shows up, like out of nowhere. And then every time I reach for the mouse, she's like, no, my head. Don't hit. And I'm like, makes me not good. Let's see here. Uncle Adam, what white paint do you use for white zenithal, and do you thin it at all? I use, for white zenithal, I use the matte white airbrush paint from Army Painter, and I just spray it over the black primer, and I don't thin it. No, I just use it because it's airbrush paint. And so the Army Painter airbrush paint basically doesn't need to be thinned. You just bloop into the airbrush and spray it. It doesn't usually make that noise. And yeah, that's what I do for all of my stuff. Well, I take that back. If I am not doing a white to black zenithal, let's say I'm, I don't know, doing a red to black zenithal because the person that I'm painting is going to be mostly red. Well, then I'll obviously use a red airbrush color. But yeah, I generally use black primer as my primer and base for these things. And then I use some airbrush color over the top, usually white, but not always. Our oldest cat passed away overnight. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I've been through that a couple of times. Salutations from Sarnia, Ontario. How are you doing? Where are we? Dignity of a cat. Unhand me, indeed. Greetings from Lexington, working on some witch hunters. Nice. Good morning from a mildly damp California. Thank you for your time this morning. Oh, absolutely. Thanks for coming. Morning from Waukesha, building and painting 1490 Doom terrain. Nice. That's one of the first things I want to get back to printing once I get the book laid out. Right now, well, it's been a week and change at this point, but mostly all I've been working on, except for, when I made a video last week, pretty much all I work on all day now, right now, is the layout for our next game, Repent, Ye Foolish Gods, which will be coming out on June 5th, Friday, June 5th, 2026. So, yeah. And as soon as the layout gets done and I can send it off and all that stuff, then I'm firing up the printer again. And then, yeah, it's going to be the terrain from the 1490 Doom Kickstarter. Greetings from KCMO, cleaning up after last night's big Gloomhaven game. Nice. Good morning from sunny Bremerton, Washington. Hope you're doing well. Priming today. Nice. Cat shenanigans started early this morning. Indeed, indeed. Kelly, how you doing? Morning from Seattle. Going to be 70 today. Things will be spray canned primed. Nice. Good morning, Uncle from Centennial, Colorado, and 6 of my own cats. I understand. Oh, sure. Yeah. VJ Morph, how you doing? Good morning from Greenfield, Indiana. How you doing? Morning from sunny and warm Middle Tennessee. Finishing up my Gray Hunters. Nice. Morning from Topeka, Kansas. Trying to get some hobby motivation. Beckett and I are headed to his youth baseball game, listening on the car ride. Nice. Best episode ever because of Cat. Well, geez, I mean, I can bring in, well, I was going to say, sometimes I can get, Margot rides around on my shoulders nearly every day, but she doesn't want to sit here and on my shoulders too much. But, maybe I could trick her into it. Hi from Austin, Texas. Got a sick baby, but hoping to hobby while he rests. Started to get into Necromunda. I don't know when I can play, but the kit bashing looks great. Necromunda specifically, they are some of the best models for kit bashing, in my opinion. And I'll talk about that in a little bit here. Morning from Scranton. How you doing? Ominous tail in the background, indeed. Come again when you can't stay so long? I didn't make that up. I've heard that before. Good morning from Nutley, New Jersey. Working on Broken Truth Pledge. Nice. Painting up 1,000 points of Saurian for a starter game in 2 weeks. Very cool. I need to get back on the Saurians. I painted a squad of the little lizard guys, the geckos or whatever they're called, and I painted a squad, and there's 10 of those, and I painted a squad of the 3 crocodile guys with the rocket launchers on their shoulders, but I haven't painted any of the rest of them since. On the other side of that box, the Broken Truth box, I painted all the robots, so they're done. Let's see here. They're cats. Satan told them to. I mean, well, live streaming with cats wasn't the plan. Going from Denton, Texas. Rexosaurus Rex, indeed. The cat came back very next day. It's true. Rainy morning here in Virginia. Good morning to paint some minis, indeed. Do you ever think supervillains had this issue with their cats? I don't know. Like that guy who I thought it was snowing for a second, but I think there's something blowing off the trees. There's like, or ash in the sky. I hope it's not ash. I know something is falling from the trees all of a sudden, I just noticed. And I think it's like little parts of the buds that are growing. I don't know. It's weird. That's weird. I've never seen that before. Anyway, that bad guy from Inspector Gadget, he had a cat that was relatively well behaved. Afternoon from West Midlands, UK. Weather mixed, but not bad. There you go. Chilly Toronto. Time to learn how magnets work. I don't know about that. As I assembled a giant chaos crab. Ooh. And thus Sir Rex was exiled for the good of the realm. Yeah. Morning from NYC. Hoping to start working on building a Kingdom Death monster painting relay piece, and then maybe something for the pigment coming up in Austin. Oh, wow. I've never painted any of the stuff from Kingdom Death. I'll be honest, a lot of it's not my aesthetic, but they are kind of crazy models. Hello from slightly sunny UK. Did we get a hi from Idaho? Maybe. Speaking of Kitbash, can you use plastic glue on painted pieces? I did my Grey Hunter pauldrons separately. I don't know that you can. I think that you generally have to probably scrape away some of the paint. I don't know. I don't really use plastic cement much, if I'm being very honest. I should change my ways a little bit, but then also I'm very frequently painting 3D printed stuff and things like that. So yeah. My nose is itchy today. Allergies have been kicking my butt. This crap falling from the tree is probably the same thing. It's just weird. I don't think it's snow. It's not. It's 35 degrees. It shouldn't be. That's weird. I don't know what that is. Could be coming from one of the bigger trees, I suppose. Huh. That was very strange. Coincidentally, clipping bits off sprues and putting them into part organizers. Part organizers are very helpful. The old world Warhammer fantasy kits were great conversion fodder. Also true. Freed from GW lists and rules, I have lots of ideas. Also true. Tamiya do a nice saw? I mean, well, this one's a little big. Puddle bases are a pain in the... Yeah, I agree. That's why I want to be able to cut them off, because otherwise I'd clip them away. But then you still have, like, the puddle base part under the feet after you've sat there and clipped everything away. And then you're like, guys are like wearing like platform shoes a little bit. So you have to, it's a pain in the butt. Puddle bases make me cry. I don't know why anybody does them anymore. It's very strange. Hello from Chile, West Virginia. Picked up the Twin Blade Brothers at a game store while traveling yesterday. Twin Blade Brothers. I'm not familiar with that. Is the Quar game skirmish enough for you, or is the model count too high? No, Quar's fine. I just haven't gotten my stuff built and painted yet, that's all. I've had other stuff in the way. But the game size isn't too bad as far as like number of models, I don't think. I guess if you decide to go way bigger maybe, but for the most part, it should be fine. I didn't realize... There were some people in the comments who were like, oh, you should talk about Quar. And I'm like, oh, I mentioned Quar in the last video that I did in 2024. And they're like, oh. And then other people were like, yeah, you can't get that game right now. It's out of stock. So I'm like, well, I mean, good for them that it's sold, but they should hopefully make more, I would think. This is why I like print on demand. First-time viewer and new to Warhammer painting. Nice. Well, I don't usually have a cat as a guest star, so yeah. Are we getting treated to Adam's new arborist side hustle saw? Yeah, it is big. To my saw I like is much smaller than that. Yeah, I don't it doesn't say woodworking saw. It says thin blade craft saw, and I just assumed, but yeah. Razor saws and jeweler saws are my favorites. The latter is especially useful for metal miniatures. I mean, jeweler saws are nice, but it's like I said, when this guy, what he did was he took like a block of wood or something, and then he covered it in a big glob of like poster putty. And then he pressed the model into it so the poster putty would kind of hold it where he wanted. And then he just sawed the right, basically between the feet and the puddle base and just sawed it straight off. And it was one shot done, and it was real nice. Whereas a jeweler's saw being that like U-shaped thing with the handle and then the little thin blade, I think that would be harder to cut straight with. The jeweler's saws, as I remember them from college when I was in metals classes and stuff like that in art, it was more about being able to do turns and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Morning from Mobile, Alabama. How you doing? Founder to me passed away this last week at 90. No kidding. Wow. Picked up the plastic Trench Crusade Prussians at Adepticon. My college-age kiddo plays it online and has great things to say about it. Like on Tabletop Simulator or something like that? Because there's no... I was talking yesterday about how I would be astounded if they didn't make a video game or start at least announcing a video game within a year or two. Because so many people that are attached to Trench Crusade are ex-video game people as well. I mean, Mike Franchino, who came up with the whole concept and did the majority of the initial art, he worked for Blizzard. He was a concept artist for, I think, Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 and maybe Diablo 4. And, what's his name? Thomas, who designed Mordheim and obviously Trench Crusade as well. He's been working for Sony, I think, for like PlayStation for a number of years. So yeah, they've got contacts, I would think. To me, he's making tools for Civil War surgery now. I mean, man, the Civil War surgeons would have wished they had one of those. Just use your nippers to clip off the puddle base if it's plastic. Saws overkill for that job. But like I said, then they still get the stuff on the bottom and it's a pain, so... what are the tats you're getting? I want to get my motto, which is start small, grow slowly. I want to get a skull drawn by an artist that I like a lot, whose name is Christopher Cooper. He goes by Coop, C-O-O-P, online a lot. And he has this piece called Memento Mori, which is a skull, and it is like in profile. And I like skulls a lot, and I like Memento Mori a lot. I have skulls all over the place very frequently. There's several back there. Let's see here. I have to move my head the wrong... It's backwards. So, that's a skull. That's a skull. That's a skull from Sea of Thieves. That's a chrome skull next to the on-air sign. The on-air sign is new. I got it at Menards for $1.99. The batteries cost more. It was on clearance. And I'm like, but now people know if I'm on air. But anyway, yeah. So it's like a profile of a skull is the other tattoo. And then my wife and I both like crows, and I kind of want to get a crow or crows kind of thing. So, yeah. Good morning from Boston. One of my favorite Kitbash minis are Cool Mini or Not's Stargrave minis for sci-fi. Cool Mini or Not makes Stargrave minis? Because the normal Stargrave minis, the plastic ones, are made by North Star minis. I don't think Cool Mini makes those, but they might make other things they could use for Stargrave. Could saw off somebody's ankle. It's true. Ran a game of Warhammer Fantasy Role-Playing 2nd Edition yesterday. Dave, exploration in the city of Kemperbad in our Death on the Reich campaign. Oh. X-Acto has small saw blades that fit into your regular handles. Interesting. Just got a razor saw set by Excel, purchased from Micromark. Came with a miter box. I've seen those too, yeah. I didn't get the kind with the miter box. I sense that the saw's conundrum will give you good content about ensuring that your online purchases suit your needs. I mean, well, it's not a bad plan. Battlefield amputations. Puddle base like the Army Men toys. Yeah, kind of, yeah. Hello from a chilly Minneapolis. I'm painting Orc Commandos for Kill Team. Nice. Brussels, Belgium. How you doing? Spent hours cutting the puddles off of guards at Trader's Toll. Yeah. I've been kit bashing something crazy for my 1490 Doom company models. Nice. Kind of came to the realization that I don't need any more 2-player starter sets anytime soon. Okay, not bad. I had the same issue with the Tamiya razor saw. Ended up returning it and getting Tamiya 74 111 fine craft handsaw with handle. It's one of the most used kit bashing tools. Great size for miniatures. I should see if I could find it on the thing. In the calendar, psyched for Repent. Nice, good to hear. Hello from Shizuoka, Japan. I don't often get to see live shows. Big fan of Snarlcasts. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm editing the next Snarlcast this afternoon, and it will go live tomorrow morning. So there you go. Hello from the cool foothills. What is a foothole? The cool foothills of West Virginia. Printing a close facsimile to a red Corsair's Rhino, painting some RC Raiders. Nice. I like that I like that you time your game releases to be right before my birthday. Well, that's you know. Good time of day from Clearwater, Florida. Running late today? I mean, I'm not. I started at 9, but then there was a cat. Speaking of Repent, what is the tech level of their weapons? Bows and arrows, gunpowder, firearms, plasma rifles? It's all dark fantasy, so there's no guns. There's range weapons like slings and bows and crossbows and stuff, but no guns. My next kit bash project is turning WGA Lizardmen, it's Wargames Atlantic, Lizardmen into Blood Bowl cheerleaders. I have the pieces and I'm not quite sure where to start. Nice. I would tell you to start with, if you can get some poster putty, because then you can use little pieces of poster putty to sort of like stick your pieces where you want to or whatever. And then you'll be able to like kind of, you're not dry fitting necessarily, but you're kind of dry fitting and you're planning ahead. Let's see here. Happy Saturday, happy Sunday, all. Sorry. Any chance you've seen any of the new box sets minis that have come out at Gen Con? Wait, what? I haven't. You've seen any of the new box sets minis BattleTech has set to come out at Gen Con? Because I'm like, we haven't had Gen Con yet. It's like 100 days away. No, I haven't seen any of that stuff, no. At the hobby desk with my plague drones converted into D&D demons. Nice. Frigid Cleveland, how you doing? Hail from Springtime, Omaha. Today is Tyranids and breakfast burritos. Consume. I mean, well, just don't eat the Tyranids, and don't let the Tyranids eat your breakfast burritos. But yeah. Been kit bashing different Stargrave kits with guard kits lately. So many combinations. The heads and arms work perfectly most of the time. Yes, they do. Dr. Claw, that's the guy. That's the guy on Inspector Gadget. These are Caudor. Caudor are, of all the Necromunda models, and many of them are very, very good for kit bashing. I personally find Caudor to be best. But, however, you can go to Stargrave, North Star military figures, Stargrave, like all of these things, all of these Stargrave boxes, these are all plastics, and they are spectacular for kit bashing because they don't do that thing that GW does these days where they're like, oh, well, let's make your torso 6 pieces. It's, or let's make this leg 2 pieces, Like most of the figures are basically the torso and legs is 1 piece. Arms each 1 piece. Head is 1 piece. That's not a given. Games Workshop will be like, what if we made the head 2 pieces? And you're like, but why? So yeah, it's a lot easier to kit bash when things are sort of separated like this. And being able to take some of these guys and mix them in with some of these guys' bits, or even some of, let's duplicate this And we'll go back. Orlok, also a great set. Honestly, I think Orlok and Cawdor are maybe the best if you are trying to do just sort of sci-fi, maybe slightly post-apocalyptic type of things. I think the next is probably going to be not Necromunda. It's instead going to be Gene Stealer Cults. Let's see. What's a really good set? The Hybrids is a really good set. Like, there's all kinds of awesome guns and shotguns and stuff like that. Big, heavy, stubbers and whatever. But all these extra parts, like you could be like, this guy's chest, different head, different arms, maybe even different legs, all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, there's also... just to make somebody at Games Workshop sad, I'm going to type in Imperial Guard, and I dare them to say that they don't have any. Oh, look, Astra Militarum. Anyway, oh, it's funny, though. When you type in Imperial Guard, you only get just the Astra Militarum Combat Patrol, and they don't believe that that means anything else, but then they just show you Space Marines. That's weird. Oh, G-dubs. So we go here, we go to Armies of the Stupid Imperium, we go to Stupid Astra, Stupid Militarum, and now we get stuff. This is also a spectacular box for kit bashing as well. Just, there's so much stuff, you know what I mean? But yeah, there's a lot. But we'll get back to that in a sec. Let's see here. Guy from 007 had a cat. I think he was the first one. I think that the Blofeld or whatever from 007 from the James Bond movies was kind of like the first like archetypal, evil guy with a cat. You might get snow tonight. It was 22 Celsius on Friday. I hate this flipping between winter and spring. Sure. Howdy from Michigan. Most recent conversion, Stargrave Scavengers, Frostgrave Knights to make pilgrims for my Black Templars. Nice. Used in OPR. Yeah, and that's the thing, too, is a lot of the Frostgrave models, which are obviously fantasy-based, but also made by the same company, made by the same company that makes Stargrave stuff. Boop. They also make Frostgrave, so you can duplicate your tab and then go to Frostgrave down here. Come on. There we go. And then you've got so many different types of models. Here we've got a bunch of soldiers, but they've also got tons of cultists, and wildlings, basically, which they call barbarians. But they've got a lot of different great models. And again, not only can you take a laser gun from the Stargrave kit and put it on one of these guys, but you can also swap a lot of different GW parts on here too. Again, stuff like Space Marines and things like that won't work because they're designed to be like 8 foot tall in comparison. But yeah. As mentioned on the Discord, I've purchased an A1. What software do you use for designing your Greeblies? I use Mesh Mixer for the resin designs. For designing my Greeblies, I use a program called Plasticity. It does have a cost. So your other option that doesn't have a cost and would also work relatively well is something called Tinkercad. It's like Tinker CAD, CAD. If you just go to tinkercad.com, you'll find it. That does run in a window, like a browser window, whereas Plasticity doesn't. Plasticity is its own program. As a matter of fact, let me boot it up. So I go over here to this page. I close you off. I do one of these. I do Mac screen capture. Okay. Not the display. Window. Plasticity starts with a P. Okay. Oh, that's very large. Doing it live. So I mentioned relatively recently that I made a bunch of things. I made a bunch of greeblies. Hang on, let me go back to that. I need to, there we go. So I made a bunch of greeblies, designed these things, printed them on my Bamboo Lab A1, and I stuck them to this. This is an electrical box that you sink into your wall, and then you can plug stuff into it. It's called a old gang box. It's a 2-gang switch box, old work. That's what it says on the inside. So I'm going to take its word for it. And then I thought, well, what if I just made that into something that I could just print? So if you can't find this at your local hardware store, you know, then what if you just made one yourself? So I made this pretty quickly in plasticity. One of the reasons I really like plasticity is that, let me make a new one here. Are you sure you want to clear the scene? Yes. So you can, you know, one of the things I like about it a lot is it's very simple to bevel stuff. So you select this tool over here for selecting an edge, and you say, I would like to select this edge, please. And then it gives you this little shape, and then you can either make it rounded or you can make it the other one. They call it chamfer or fillet, and I don't know which is which, frankly. But the thing that's nice then is you could also then select multiples, boop, 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 and now I can do the entire thing or round it, you know, or whatever. And that's the one downside to Tinkercad is it's the doing those radiuses to make something look kind of rounded and smooth is a little bit harder, but there's ways around it. I mean, I did this thing here. Hang on, back to main screen. I did this thing here completely in Tinkercad, except for that's like a Necromunda terrain greebly that I glued on. This is a resin like light from Cromlech, I think, that I glued on, and this is another Necromunda doohickey. But otherwise, everything else was completely just done in Tinkercad. So it's not. I don't think Tinkercad would work great for trying to make a miniature. For be like, hey, I want to make a guy, but for terrain and stuff like that, it seems to work pretty well. So, but yeah, so, and it's very simple in this to just be like, all right, well, I'm going to make a door, and I want it to be like this, and then I'm going to just, you know, have it or go in or stick out or whatever. And like, there's just, and then if I was like, okay, well, now I want to make the top of this thing here and then do like this, you know, and you just, it's, I find plasticity easier to use than Blender, even though Blender is free, but still I find plasticity easier to use than Blender. So, oops. I didn't mean to do that, I guess. There we go. And back to that. There we go. Okay, where was I at? Dr. Claw. I have to get some, I have plans to get some Orlock to turn into cultists for my Iron Warriors. Nice. Currently turning the monopose Terminators into Chaos. Makes sense. I can see that. I'm going to readjust this window. Come on. Or I guess not. I don't know why it's being weird. There we go. I use OBS. OBS is my streaming software. It's free. It's great. Whatever. That's cool. It's sometimes troublesome. And there's an alternative out there that I've been interested called Meld, which looks like it's going to do some really interesting things. And then just recently they were like, oh yeah, we're adding a bunch of cool AI stuff into Meld. And I was like, ah. So that's great. Apparently, cat understand what humans are saying to the point, but choose to ignore us. I mean, does not surprise me. Like, yeah, I know what you want. I'm not going to do it, but yeah, I know what you want. I get that out of Rex a lot, actually. And sometimes George. George will just be like, "Yeah, I know you don't want me. I know you don't want me behind the television. I get it. I'm not gonna, comply, but I get it." A new cat, Lucy, is going through her terrible teen phase. She is not popular in the house right now. I read a thing just recently about how girl cats chill out quicker than boy cats. Some boy cats evidently never chill out, but I mean, we've had boy cats in the past. Like Diesel never really was he never like jumped up on stuff and like we've had to start taking like bags of chips and hiding them in the cabinets because if you just leave them on the counter, Rex will rip into them because he wants to eat the potato chips, which we've just never had a cat who was like potato chip oriented. You know what I mean? But he's like, "Oh yeah, this is awesome." And I'm like, you're a weird cat. So I'm a mailman, just delivered one-page rules minis like 2 days ago. Nice. We only ever saw Dr. Claw's arm. The only time Inspector Gadget caught him was it was a dummy arm and his cat. I submit there is no Dr. Claw, only the Mad Cat doing all the evil schemes. That would not be surprising to me. Scrape away the paint on mating surfaces for any paint, even super glue. Otherwise, you'll only be holding things together with the paint. Definitely with super glue, but even with plastic glue, I think you'd have to do that for sure because you need the plastic to melt. Basically, what's happening with plastic cement is you are melting both parts of the plastic, and then you're kind of welding them together a little bit. You know what I mean? Kind of scared of the new Catalyst Battletech rules, so I'm looking for classic and kit-bashed mechs. Missed the old FASA Robotech sculpts. Oh yeah. Happy time of day from Nottingham. Scratch building 2mm scale ancient buildings. Whoa, they sound tiny. I bought 7 Necromunda kits just on Adam's recommendation as kitbash fodder. Yeah, I think I own most. Well, no, not most of them. Let's see. Which ones have I bought in the past? I don't think I have the Enforcer Sanctioner Pattern Automata. I know I've never built one, and I don't think I've ever gotten one. Vansar, totally got a box of them, at least, if not 2. Caudor, yeah, just bought another box recently. Deloc, got a box of those. Did some kit bashes with them. If you don't use their heads for their bodies and instead you give them Tau heads, they look really cool. I don't know why, but they do. But yeah. And then you really don't have to do much else, really. Orlok, definitely. Escher, I don't know if I have a box of Escher, but I definitely have some Escher. I think because GW years and years and years ago, like in 2017, sent me the Necromunda box, so it came with Eschers and Goliaths. So I think I have them. But yeah, I don't know that I have corpse grinders. They look mean, but I kind of like these heads in the back a little bit. The heads in the front, I'd be like, meh. Gee, like you're just a little bit over the top there, but the heads in the back are kind of cool. I think I have a box of these squat prospectors, but I think maybe GW sent me those. I've definitely used the Palanite Enforcers, but before, definitely. I don't think I have any Ridge Walkers. I might have one of these 2 things. And again, I think it was a deal. Not a deal, but I think it was GW might have sent me one of those. I don't know. No. Orlok Outrider Squad or Quads. Those are cool. I don't know that I have one. I do have, they did send me the Ash Waste box years ago, so I do have some HAB modules, and I have built and primed 2 or 3 of them. I just haven't painted them. Bug guys, no. Hive Scum box. This is like one of the best boxes that they make, I think, in the world. It's like $20, $21 or whatever, but it's just like it can be built so many different ways, and they're just like regular little dudes. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's this is a great, like, you get basically 4 bodies. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's like 4 guys, but there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's at least twice as many heads and lots of different crazy weapons and stuff like that. So not whenever, but frequently if I see a Hive Scum box, I buy it. And I've probably got at least 2 or maybe 3. I did just recently build something out of one of them, so there's that too. But the other thing that's also cool is that you can just buy these upgrade kits. So they got cool, like there's Van Sar ones that has all kinds of extra weapons and arms and stuff like that, and a whole bunch of cool heads. I have to sneeze. Excuse me. Don't think I've ever seen those guys before. Cawdor Redemptionists. I don't know if I have a box of them somewhere or not. Because I was going to do a Cawdor gang. I did build and paint a Cawdor gang for Necromunda. And then I was going to be playing with like Sam and Raven and stuff like that. And then I was like, these rules are terrible. And so I haven't played. So I'll probably instead play Gang Wars by OPR. So, but yeah. Don't think I have any of these guys. I might have a box of these guys, but I've never used it. But I don't know. No. I got a lot of these tile floors. Oh, and then this. I mean, I've already built 2 of these guys. One was just a cool kitbash that was fun, and the other one was an orc, basically, that I turned into like a big, like a knob. But it was basically just like all that was left was his head, and the rest of his body was basically one of these. So yeah, these guys are also great too. And then you start getting into the weird stuff. Like I've never even seen these guys before. Kind of cool heads. Palanite Justicars. I never heard of them. But yeah, so the Necromunda area, and it just keeps going. Like we're to number 72 of 209. I mean, good Lord. Now, here's the deal. Almost all of this crap is out of stock. They're like, oh yeah, we don't have that anymore. Oh, no, we don't have that. Oh, we don't really, So there's that too, or a lot of it's online only. A lot of these guys, the weirdos basically from Necromunda, are predominantly all resin. So, you're like, and when I say resin, and see, they all say expert kit. That means they used to be Forge World, and that also means that they're probably warped in many situations. So there's that too, but yeah. Let's see here. Print on demand is easy when the printer is across the room. Also true. I get the feeling most places still doing puddle bases do gravity lead casting. It's probably good for topping off and making sure you don't get too many bubbles. For metal models, I totally get it. I don't get it on Frostgrave models. That's what I'm talking about. That's like, I don't know why these guys have puddle bases, especially when the Stargrave guys don't. Hang on, where's the sprue? Like, these guys don't have puddle bases, but these guys do. So whenever I do use a Frostgrave model, I have to cut the stupid little tiny base off. But when I use this, and I'll be honest, I have a tendency not to use the Frostgrave models as much as the Stargrave models because I'm more into generally, sci-fi than sci-fi versus fantasy. But sometimes giving these guys lasers and cool, weird robot heads is really neat. And so I still end up having to cut the stupid puddle bases off. With metal, I totally get it. That's actually, with metal, when you're casting metal, the puddle base is actually really kind of a little bit more useful for the caster than for the customer. Let's see here. Quar's coming out with an updated starter box later this year. Well, that'd be nice. Discontinued the original a while ago, but WGA seems to be way behind schedule since tariff issues. I mean, everyone's getting screwed by tariffs, so yeah, I understand that. The benefit is that WGA can produce the models here in the States. So at least they're not probably paying tariffs to come, you know what I mean? Because basically what they do, from what I've been told, is they will make a model, they'll make a mold for a line of models, and then they will crank out a whole bunch of them in England, and then they'll crate up the mold and then send it over to the US and then crank out a bunch of them over here, or vice versa. I'm not sure which, I don't know where they start with the mold, but they have production facilities on both sides of the pond, which is great. And probably does help with tariffs and stuff like that, I would assume. As a former arborist, you're right that the tool is absolutely for arborists. Like, it doesn't show them cutting trees on the back, but they do show them cutting wood. And also, there's a car model right up here. It's just like, hey, let's just cut the front off of this car, this entire model. So, yeah. Depends on how much you have used a jeweler's saw and how good the saw and the blades are. Probably true also. Received my missing backpacks from my damned heavy infantry. Got one of every non-vehicle box plus an extra sprue. That's a lot of kitbash. Oh, yeah. That's a good point, too. Yeah. I mean, and I'll get to WGA or Wargames Atlantic. They're also really good for kitbashing stuff. Like, really good. I have an Ambot kit that sits in my pile of Obliterator's kitbash sprues. Nice. What's a puddle base? A puddle base is like these little bases that are down here on the bottom of their feet. You know, like if you buy like most other models, let's say I go with this, right? So this is a Stargrave model. You'll notice that they don't have a little base at the bottom of their feet. You cut them off of the sprue and you glue them to a round, you know, GW style base or whatever. You know, you could glue them to a nickel. I don't know, whatever you're going to do. But you glue them to a base like this so they stand up. These guys wouldn't stand up on their own if you just like built them and said they would fall over a lot because they're just on their regular feet like that. Whereas these guys would technically kind of stand on their own because they have an integrated base. The reason they call it a puddle base is it kind of looks like they're standing in a puddle, I guess, probably. Anyway, it, again, makes sense on metal models, does not exactly make sense on plastic models anymore, but, you know, what are you going to do? So if I'm going to use this guy, I'm either going to glue him and his puddle base to a round plastic base and then try to build up the texture to match, which I don't like to do, or I'm going to clip away all that basing, which is a pain in the butt, which is hence why I decided to, you know, try a razor saw, because then you could just cut the whole thing right off of his little feetsies, and it would be hopefully relatively simple. We will see. Trench Crusade overhaul mod for Warhammer Total War 40K seems pretty likely. Well, the thing is, the Trench Crusade is so focused on skirmish that I don't think Total War would make a ton of sense. Like, there's no vehicles in Trench Crusade. And I feel like it's maybe going to be that way. I don't know that they'll, I mean, maybe someday they'll move to an army situation, but I kind of don't think so. I think they're going to focus mostly on skirmish. So I don't know if skirmish rules would work with Total War. I mean, someone might make a mod, sure, but I could see them making either, I don't know, I could see a first-person shooter or a third-person shooter. I could even see something a little along the lines of like Dawn of War 2, which was more skirmish, kind of turn-based, kind of oriented almost a little bit. Maybe something like that might be kind of cool. Ola from Bridgend in South Wales, just basing my Conflict 47 Fireflies and about to build me linebacker. Nice. Currently kitbashing the new Sloven Knights to make a unit of 5 Nurgle Knights with full command for Old World. Wow, I don't know what a Sloven Knight is. That's kind of cool. Buddies think I'm odd because I have skulls everywhere in my place and shop. Yeah, we've got skulls all over the place. It's a bit of a motif. It's you know, the motif in this situation is like the whole concept of memento mori, which is basically that you're not going to live forever, and you got to, you know, kind of get things done while you're upright. At least that's the way I look at it, and so that's kind of why that works that way. Hello from the UK. Hope you're well. I hope you're well as well. Oh, everything scrolled. Dang it. Come on. Wow, it really, there we go. Linebacker. I recognize that word. You should get a neck tattoo. I don't know that I want a neck tattoo. That being said, I'm not against the idea of getting a hand tattoo. I'm at this point probably not going to work in corporate America anymore if I can help it. God forbid. So I've thought about it. Probably not so much neck tattoo, though. I don't know. I have 3 tattoos so far. I have the one on the wrist here, and then I have one on this arm, and I have one on my calf. Waiting for delivery of some 15mm World War II soldiers. Going to try something new. As a man is in 50s, I'm also collecting new tattoos myself. You deserve stickers. I don't disagree. Guards of Trader's Troll minis. Trader's Toll. Trader's Troll? Trader's Toll. Trader's Toll. Are rough going with puddle bases. Yeah. I want them on cobblestone city streets. Makes sense. Yeah, I get it. But the feet on the minis are so tiny. Lopped off a few accidentally. Yeah, I don't like puddle bases. More skulls equals more profit. I don't know if that's true, but let's say it is. I think even if the Kingdom Death Monster aesthetic with a lot of the pinup type models isn't your jam, I think the wild sculpts would be good for some interesting kitbash bits. The plastic, I don't know how well would work for kitbashing. Also, aren't they like really kind of expensive and limited? I wouldn't want to kitbash with something that's like really limited. You know what I mean? Like people like wait in long lines at Gen Con at the Kingdom Death booth every year to buy certain things. And I don't want to like wait in a super long line and then be like, I'm going to cut this guy's hand off and give him a cool gun or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that. I don't know. Pin vise is especially useful for kitbashing. Yep. Pin vise is, they call it a pin vise, but it's basically a tiny drill. I don't know why they don't call it a pin drill. It's weird. I guess it's a vise in that it's pinching the pin, but the pin is a drill bit. I don't know. But yeah, pin vise is basically a tiny little drill, little hand drill. Morning from Montreal about Wargames Atlantic recessed bases to accommodate the puddle. Instead of cutting the puddle, you fill out the gaps in the base. Yeah, I just really like the standard GW like bevel style. You know what I mean? Where it's like this. I just have always liked that. I rarely, if a company gives me bases and they're like flat on the sides like this, I almost never use them. I did recently use, when I did the Arasaka models for Cyberpunk Red Combat Zone, they came with printed bases which were flat on the sides. They were 3D printed bases and they were flat on the sides. And I did use those for those guys, but in most situations, I don't. Good morning from chilly Columbus, Ohio. How you doing? Kitbashing survivors and aliens for my Insurgent Earth game. Robot factions. Neat. Picked up the new Malifaux starter set after your video the other day, wondering if you've seen/tried Paradise by Mindworks. I'm slightly familiar with Mindworks. They are mostly like, they make display stuff, but I do think I have heard that they've made a game or are working on a game. Interesting. Would 1490 Doom minis work well for a Repent Sept? Looks like the right aesthetic. Yeah, I think you could, for sure. Currently have Hate set up on my table, having not played it for about 2 years. Painted all the figures ages ago, but have just picked up the painted terrain. Nice. Hate from Cool Mini or Not, right? Yeah. Good morning from the car, driving home from Iowa. Kitbashing some vehicles for Ash Waste this week. Nice. Breakfast bug burritos. Ooh. Really leaning towards getting the Year Zero starter set, the Mutant Duck Mini, and the guy in the dive helmet really speak to me. Yeah, I forgot about the guy with the duck head. Yeah. Kind of looks like Howard the Duck. The second box, the Robots and Psionics or whatever, showed up yesterday? No, Friday. I think Friday. So, because in the video I was like, oh, I don't have it yet. And that's because I had ordered it, but it had not showed up yet. And I haven't opened it yet, but it showed up on Friday. I go through times when I don't get stuff, like I don't order anything and I just don't get anything for a while. And then all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of stuff. This week it's been a whole bunch of stuff. That box showed up with that Mutant Year Zero edition, Zone Wars thingy or whatever. These saws. showed up. And then I also ordered right after Adepticon. I ordered from a company called Spray Gunner. Their booth was right next to Army Painter's booth, and they mainly sell airbrush and airbrush accessories. But they have this airbrush thing. It's like a hood. I wonder if I can find it. Spray Gunner. Waterfall. I think this is it. Oh, this doesn't, well, maybe. But it's got a waterfall basically in the back that runs, that sucks the stuff out of the air. This doesn't look right. I don't think it's the same one. But it's like $260, which was not cheap. But if it's quieter, that's the main issue that I have with mine, is that it is very loud. So it's not the end of the world, but I can't film stuff with it running, because then you can't hear me talk. So I will film stuff sometimes and then have to completely lose the audio and then just use it as B-roll sometimes in videos. But I would like to be able to do a tutorial where it's sitting there running and I'm like talking and you can hear me. And you can't do that with the one that I already have. So I just recently got this. I haven't been able to even open the box yet. It's sitting in the living room. But because again, I've been working on layout. But yeah, I want to try that out and see how it works out. So yeah. In painting my new Age of Sigmar Stormcast army, having issue with Citadel paints. They seem to be getting more and more expensive, and I'm finding a little bite in the paints. I mean, I'm not a fan of Citadel paints. I haven't used their stuff in a long time. But yeah. Speaking of cats, are you a Dungeon Crawler Carl fan, and do you have any thoughts on the new TTRPG and minis coming out? I've heard of Dungeon Crawler Carl, but I don't know anything about him. Kador, like War Machine? No, Caudor. Websites. Caudor. Kador, I think that's the red guys the red, vaguely Russian guys in War Machine, which those were the faction I used to play back in the day when I used to play. But yeah, Caudor are these dudes. That doesn't spin. You have to push this, and then you can make it spin. He's got a very powerful. That's a big crossbow. There you go, and he's got candles on his head, so that's fun too. But yeah, I was slightly disappointed that Paradise isn't played with a pair of dice. That's a good point. I guess, yeah. Apocalypse Nurse, trying to hype myself up to paint my Malediction Warband. Gorgeous models, but a bit over detailed for my liking. I'll probably end up painting more greenskins for Space Kits instead. Malediction, I had a lot of people mention that too in the Friday video about 2-player starters for around $100. I wish I liked the models more. They're not bad. They're not badly sculpted. They're not like, oh, this is not a good looking sculpt. It's just aesthetically not what I'm looking for. Secondly, the game seems to lean a little bit more on cards than I am generally interested in. Like, I don't mind, like, if a game has some cards that are like good references, you're like, oh, I don't have to look this up in the book because I can use these cards or whatever. Great, that's great. But yeah, I don't know. I did a demo of it at Gen Con last year, I think it was. And I hope it does well, but I'm going to be perfectly frank with you folks. It's a gateway game. It kind of straddles in between board games and miniatures, at least in my opinion. And some of the minis are super kind of cool sculpts, but the overall aesthetic just is not exactly what I'm looking for. I don't know. I did last year at either Gen Con or Adepticon, I forget which. I did buy like a thing. But you got to again, you got to 3D print the stuff and go through all that and everything, which is fine. But I just haven't pulled the trigger and going down that road. So yeah. And I don't know a single human that plays it besides me anyway, like locally or whatever. So I mean, they've had busy booths. Obviously, people are enjoying it, but it's definitely got to be one of those games where you bring it back to your gaming group and you set up 2 things and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. But I'm glad they're heading down that road and everything like that. But for me, it's just yeah. Malifaux makes some of their heads in 2 pieces, face and hair and hat. Yeah, no, I know that's true. What's the name of your and Vince's new game, or is it still a secret? It is no longer a secret. It is called Repent, Ye Foolish Gods. You can learn more about it if you go to the Snarling Badger Studios YouTube channel. And we did a live podcast. Well, we didn't broadcast it. We recorded a podcast that we did live at Adepticon, and that's where we announced it and stuff. So you can listen or even watch it because we actually filmed it, which normally our podcasts are audio because that's what podcasts are supposed to be. If you film all your podcasts, in my opinion, you're a talk show. But what are you going to do? Anyway, old man yells at cloud. But in this situation, we actually filmed the podcast of us talking and stuff like that in front of a live studio audience. And so if you watch that one, episode 31, maybe, I think that's right. If you watch that one, you can find out more about Repent, Ye Foolish Gods, which will be coming out the 5th of June. Good morning from Central Indiana. Uncle Adam, have you heard about the new Bob Lazar movie? Looks like a good watch. I haven't watched it. I've heard about it. I'm just distrusting Bob Lazar a little bit more these days. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. Beauty of these kits is the modularity, like the way GW used to do their models. Exactly. I agree. Yeah. What do you think of the new Shock Trooper box from Trench Crusade folks for kit bashing? I was impressed. I hope their other module or multi-party kits are like this. You mean the Stostruppen? I'm mispronouncing that, but I'm always told I'm mispronouncing it. As it turns out, I'm not German, so I can't probably pronounce it properly anyway. But if you're talking about those guys, yeah, those are great boxes. Like I haven't used them for kit bashing yet. I built a Prussian warband and painted it. So I have 2 warbands right now for finished warbands for Trench Crusade. I have Trench Pilgrims, which I did earlier part of 2025, and then now I have, and they're all 3D printed. And then I have the Prussians now, which are mostly all plastics, except 2 of my models are not. The heavy mechanized infantry guy is 3D printed, and the Sniper Priest is 3D printed because the new Sniper Priest plastics weren't out yet. So, but now I'm going to probably maybe do another one just because they're cool and they're plastic. But yeah, those kits are real nice, I think. Good morning from Austin, Texas. Victrix recently had an online poll on what Victrix should do. I saw that on Facebook for some strange reason. I don't think I follow Victrix, but I saw a thing that was like, hey, what should we do next? I wished for Mongol cavalry, Chinese Boxer Rebellion, and cavemen. Ooh. The Trader Guardsman kit is pretty cool too. The Blooded or whatever. That's the other good thing. Now that you mention it, duplicate websites. If you go to more other games, kill teams. Some of these are also pretty cool too for kit bashing. This is an awesome set. The Sanctifiers, love this box. Did I buy a second copy of it? I might have already. But these are awesome. I love these guys. And then there's also, this is okay. They're not bad. I like the servitors okay. I built one of the servitors and did a video about whether these servitors are any better than the ones from the automatons from Stargrave, and your mileage may vary. These guys are kind of cool. The problem is that all these kill team boxes are kind of expensive in comparison to the Necromunda boxes. You know what I mean? Like this is a $70 box. They're like, yeah, but it comes with cards. I'm like, but I don't want the cards. I'm not going to use it for that game because I don't like the game. Who else is good for 3D or for kit bashing? The Navy Breachers are not bad. I don't generally kit bash with aliens much. Sometimes I'll put alien heads on like normal humanoid, but like there's nothing much to kit bash with these guys because they kind of just look like Dark Eldar. You know what I mean? Like they don't, at least in my opinion. Maybe like a saw weird sword thing once in a while. You could be like, oh, I'm going to use this. That's cool. And put it on like a different guy or whatever. But I don't know. Their stuff looks so Eldar that you're just like, eh. I don't like these guys' weird jump packs. They look stupid. At least in my opinion. What else? Chaos Cultists are not bad for kit bashing for sure, I would say. And, oh, the Blood Brothers are pretty good. Yep, those guys are cool. Scout Squad, meh. Yeah. Stealth battle suits, meh. Ratlings, meh. Felgor Ravagers are kind of cool. Inquisitorial Agents are good. Of course, out of stock. And Kasrkin are good. They just don't sell the blooded anymore, I guess. Okay, well, that's I guess, a decision. And then just packs of stupid cards. Okay. That's weird. I guess they just don't have the blooded even on the website anymore. That's a bummer. Because those guys were super cool. Like, they were really cool trader guard type folks. If you're looking for really good trader guard, in my opinion, War Scenery. There we go. Now, you're going to want to have somebody 3D print them for you. But these are pretty dope. I like these guys a lot. I've painted up a bunch of them. But these are really good. There you go. These guys are real nice too. So just if you're interested, warscenery.com. Like I said, I painted up a bunch of these guys. And you could probably kit bash them as well if you wanted to. Although I think, well, the ones I had because I actually bought these printed. I bought these at I bought these at LVO 2025, I think. And I bought them from the War Scenery booth. So they must have printed a whole bunch and then brought them to sell. Because otherwise, if you only sell STLs, it's hard to have things to sell at a booth, right? So yeah, they had some of these and then I bought them and painted them up and they're cool. I think I have an extra one floating around in here somewhere. There he is. Yeah, so they were all... Probably help if I was on the main screen, wouldn't it be? There we go, buddy. All right. But yeah, these guys are nicely scaled. They're all one piece in most situations, so a little bit harder for kit bashing, maybe. But yeah, they're pretty cool. I like them. So I don't know if they sell on my mini factory. They probably do, but you could also buy them direct from them if you were so inclined. They actually have all kinds of miniatures. They've got a bunch of stuff that looks vaguely Tau, stuff that looks vaguely Star Wars. They got a lot of vaguely this and vaguely that, you know, if you're into that kind of thing. But I just thought that they also have, they get rid of them? Huh. They used to have something that basically was kind of the original Necrons, like the way the Necrons looked when they were originally called like Chaos Robots or something like that, but I think they might have taken those down. They might have got a cease and desist, which I get it. Because yeah, I don't see them anymore on their website. Astra Stupid Militarum, tell us how you really feel. Don't hold back. I just don't like the dumb naming that they do, which is why I decide to not use it in most situations. The old Free Company Militia are great for conversions. They have so many fun parts. Free Company Militia. I'm not familiar with that. I got a $50 eBay salvage of Drakari and bashed, repaired them into 7 units. Nice. I like what Northstar do, but I would need to get 5 different sets to bash them all together. I mean, over time, maybe. G-Dub's changing the name of an entire faction and refusing to refer to it is pretty 40k meta. Just kit bash some sci-fi cultists using Frostgrave cultists and random Stargrave bits. Exactly. It's perfect. It's such an easy way to do it. It's a lot of fun. I've been watching a lot of different kit bashing channels lately. I have done kit bashing videos in the past, and they've generally always done just bad. I don't know why. I'm evidently either not good at kit bashing and people don't want to see or I just don't know. I don't know. I think there's maybe also just a lot of people that just don't kit bash. They're like, no, I build them the way that you're supposed to build them, and that's what I do, and that's fine. But I don't know. I think that kit bashing is really interesting. So yeah. So there's been times, like lately, I do want to do more kit bashing videos and just be like, well, this is what I'd like to do. I just noticed this. Did not read that at all. Physical options now also available for EU Europe and also US rest of world. So I guess if you're like, hey, I would really like some of these renegade infantry dudes, but I don't have a printer or a friend with one. Go away, tiny bug. There's like a weird little bug. Oh, through Tabletop Terrain. Oh, I've gotten stuff, bought stuff through them before. So yeah, that makes sense. That's pretty cool. Okay, yeah. Tabletop Terrain is a company that just basically does a lot of 3D printing for other companies. But yeah, that's cool. Did not realize. Bought some stuff from them. Last time I bought stuff from them was Nova. Yeah, the Nova Open 2025. It was one of those deals. It's cool too, because when you're at a convention, you'd be like, they have a bunch of printed stuff there, and you're like, can I get this and this and this, and then can you ship it to me because I can't fit it in my luggage? And they're like, yeah, totally. So that's really nice. But you get to see it, in full 3D printing or whatever. On Kitbash for Trench Crusade, 1 Space Marine into a mechanized infantry, a box of City of Sigmar, Steel Helm into regular Antioch. Oh, Steel Helm are also really good for kit bashing too. Yeah. Cities of Sigmar stuff is really cool for kit bashing. Like taking a Cities of Sigmar guy and giving him like some sort of like blaster or laser gun is just right off the bat cool. Good snowy morning from St. Jerome, Quebec. I'll soon be leaving to give a class on 3D modeling and 3D printing in a public library. Nice. This will become recurrent for me, and I'm all for it. Very cool. Very cool. Blender Hard Ops modeling is free and great as well, but there is a learning curve. Yeah, oh, for sure, for sure. Blender is also free, steeper learning curve, but I sculpt and model my terrain and miniatures in it. Yeah, I mess with Blender a little bit. I've messed with it a couple of times, and I've bounced off of it almost every time. I've been using graphic software for nearly 30 years. I learned Photoshop before Photoshop had layers. When it went from version 2 to version 2.5 was when I was learning Photoshop initially. So when all of a sudden they added in layers, you were like, ooh, this is very cool. So I've been doing it a long time, and opening up Blender and then going, I would like to move this cube over here. And then just like being unable to do it without holding 4 keys or some crap like that. And I'm just like, ugh. So I don't know. I may go back to Blender again. I have a subscription to Skillshare or something like that I don't know why I pay for it. I use it once in a great while. I guess it's nice for certain things, but yeah, if I was going to try to learn Blender, it would be, and this is not an ad for Skillshare. Lord knows they don't pay me. But I would probably try to use that and try to, learn it again. And I might at some point, but right now, honestly, plasticity works pretty well for me. And though it's not free, I can figure out how to move things around and do stuff, and it's helpful. So, but yeah. I'm a fan of FreeCAD. I've not heard of that one. Metalcorn, how you doing? For best Kitbash sets, the Citadel Skulls box deserves a shout out. That's a good box too. I've got at least 2 boxes of Citadel Skulls. That's a good point. Do you have any experience with Blender other than being angry at it? Not much, no. Does SketchUp still have a free version? I don't think so. Chamfers are flat, fillets are rounded. See, that doesn't... Like, if you ever tried to fillet a fish, a fillet of fish, fillet of fish is flat. Like, you would think that... I don't know. Anyway. Like a mix of Blender and SolidWorks. Yeah, plasticity is nice. Like I said, it's about $150, but it's also not a subscription. It's like $150, and then you have it for X amount of time, and then if you want to, like, if they make like a massive upgrade, then you have to kind of pay for that. But it's like the way software used to work, where they weren't like, no, we're going to ding you every month, and then you'll get free updates. But, you know, yeah. YouTuber, game designer, grimdark architect, all kinds of things. Photographer, raconteur. That's, I don't know, there's maybe more. Haver of Skulls. Love the Sea of Thieves skull. Yeah, I've got one back there. I used to play Sea of Thieves, and I used to watch a guy who plays Sea of Thieves a lot on Twitch. And I got this off of Etsy. It has a light. There we go. Can't really see it because it's sort of bright in here, but it glows. So, yeah. If you ever played Sea of Thieves, which is basically this cartoon pirate game, this is a dead-on one of the skulls that you can like find in the game and stuff like that. Strangely covered in cat hair. I don't know how that would happen. It's because of Rex. Ooh. See, the light shines through his nose. Which is probably not meant to happen, but what are you going to do? Turn that back off. Put him back over here. There we go. The little rune on top of his head glows in the dark too, but I mean, you know, it has to be dark. Let me see here. I don't know if anyone has mentioned it, but Frostgrave cultists are 10 to 10 kitbash. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Been looking at, I mean, here's your soldiers, and the soldiers are also quite good too, but the cultists are really good. There are 3 different cultist sets from Frostgrave. You have the original, which is just called cultists, and it has, you know, a bunch of cool stuff going on there, right? Cool bows and spears and swords and weird skeleton arms and things like that, in case your cultists are, you know, undead maybe, or who knows. And then there's also Cultists 2 somewhere. Knights, Cultists 2. And Cultists 2 are lady cultists. So you got that going on. Different layout to the sprues, quite a bit, I think, but still. And a zillion heads. You've got, like, on each sprue, you have 5 bodies, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, at least 21 heads for 5 people. So you've got lots of extra heads left over, hence more kit bashing down the road. It's another great reason why to use these, in my opinion. Same with Wargames Atlantic. Wargames Atlantic is like, this box has got 30 guys in it and 150 heads. So have a good time with that. And then there's also Cultists 3 now somewhere. Wait, is this? Oh, this is a Kitbash box. Because there's like armored cultists. Oh, there's cultist knights? What? 1 box of Frostgrave cultist knights and a frame of Stargrave scavengers. What? I didn't even know there were cultist knights. Because there's also Cultists 3 box now, too. There's a 4th Cultist box? Are you? Oh, my goodness. Anyway, let's see if we can find that. Cultists 3. Here we go. So Cultists 3, if the first box was dudes and the second box is lady dudes and the third box is just a whole bunch of crazy shenanigans. It's like, it's just more cool cultists with different heads, all kinds of things. It's a mixture of male heads and female heads, and this guy's got antlers. I don't know what that's all about. But it's just a wackadoo, crazy box of cultists. I didn't even know about cultist knights. I mean, that makes sense. I talked to, so North Star Military Figures, the full name of North Star Military Figures is Nick Erie's North Star Military Figures. And I talked to Nick at Adepticon. He and his son, whose name I unfortunately missed, I think, they were at Adepticon. And I think it was their first Adepticon. And they came by. I happened to be in the booth over at Army Painter, and they came by and chatted and stuff like that because I knew they were going to be there. And I was hoping to bump into them, but I wouldn't have known them. But luckily they found me. So there you go. But yeah, they're doing a bunch of new stuff coming out too, which I'm super excited about. But yeah, Frostgrave Cultists Knights. I had no idea. So these are just probably heavily armed or more heavily armed Frostgraves. I got to get a box of these guys. These guys are awesome. A lot more shields, swords, helmets. That's going to be great. So yeah, very good for kit bashing. Any set that gives you like, anytime a sprue gives you 5 models and like 15 or 20 heads, that's a good deal, because then, you know, you're good for heads for a good while. So that's very helpful. Favorite kit for conversion is the 2013 Chaos Cultist. I've made a Guard Regiment, Ministorum Crusaders. The GW original Chaos Cultists were cool, but they were pretty much like monopose, right? Like you just sort of, they were just push fit and that's it. So they were a little harder to kit bash, but not too terrible. I do have a bunch of those too. I wish I had more. I want to see some Cadian models in Necromunda. I'm not sure which way to go. Maybe Outcasts. I want to use some Cadian models in Necromunda. Yeah, it could be. I could see maybe Outcasts, sure. Do you paint the entirety of your bases one color, or do you paint a black ring? I always put a black ring around the edge. I always do black ring around the edge. One point you said you had a passing interest in Legion Imperialis. Have you considered getting into Mantic's Epic Warpath? Neither of those things at this point anymore, no. Like I had a passing interest in Legion Imperialis, and then, like I said, I thought, oh, maybe I'll order the starter, and they didn't have it in stock. And I was like, oh, of course. And now I just watched a video from Olden Demon, I think is his channel. And he was talking about, because he's a fan of Legions Imperialis, and he was talking about how it's like a total mess. Like there were all these hardcover books that came out that had all the rules, and now they're all like, no, those aren't the most recent rules anymore. Like, and it's not been out that long, and they've already gone through and changed a bunch of stuff and all that. And I'm just like, nope, no, thank you. OBS is the 10-pound gorilla, which most other live streaming apps build off of. Wow, a 10-pound gorilla is very small. Had a boy tabby who loved jalapeno Cheez-Its. Ooh, that's. We what was the bag that he attacked? Oh, it was all dressed kettle chips, which were tasty, but you wouldn't think a cat would be interested in all dressed. You know what I mean? There's a Dr. Claw action figure that revealed his face. Oh my goodness. We have an orange Maine Coon that has a serious thing for mac and cheese. Well, I can understand that. I have a mania for chips. Gaming brings out my bad snack cravings. Yeah, I can understand that. Comes to digital kit bashing, you can't beat Ve Victus miniatures. I like Ve Victus quite a bit. They're perfect for Frostgrave or Mordheim. Yep, they do a lot of They do a lot of fantasy stuff. But I am currently right now. Well, I would have been on Friday, but I could not stop my nose and my eyes from running because of the allergies on Friday. So I didn't stream on Twitch on Friday, but I hopefully should be able to stream tomorrow night. But I'm working on some Ve Victus miniatures right now, actually, that my friend Dave printed for me. They are for the Psalm 28. It's a set they did for Psalm 28, and they're sci-fi, but like it's an interesting kind of mix of sci-fi and fantasy or something like that. They're really cool models. Coming from Santa Rosa, California, just excited to catch this live. Normally watch the rerun. Well, I'm glad to have you. Cats don't have to wear pants to leave the house. That's a good point. We need to stop calling it plastic glue since most smaller war games are moving away from polystyrene. Plastic glue, as we know, is actually just polystyrene acid. Ooh. I think I have the old Escher and Goliath set in the attic. The old stuff, like from the 90s. Which is plastic glue? It only works with HIPS models. ABS and 3D printed models won't work with it, even though there are specific plastic glues for both as well. That's true. Plastic cement only works on HIPS. High impact polystyrene. The Necromunda Goliath maulers make for the most amazing corn bikers. Oh, interesting. Harlequin 40K box is good for kit bashing. I guess if you need to make clowns, but I don't know. Greetings from Indianapolis. Nice to see you're interested in War Machine again. It's a great time to come back into the game. Like I said, I found out, this is interesting too. So I talked about it in the video on Friday. I'm like, boy, I hope that Kador and Signar box comes back into stock again. And there was a bunch of people in the comments who were like, yeah, it's not gonna. They're not. You can buy those two boxes separately now. It's the same thing, but it's not. Yeah. So the two boxes separately come to like, I don't know, $130 or maybe more, whereas that original box was $100. So I think it was hey, this is a deal to get people doing it. And then now it's, yeah. So that might be the play where they're just taking like basically two war bands, putting them in a thing and going, here's this thing and you're getting it for slightly cheaper. And then once they run out of boxes, then they're just like, well, you got to buy them separately now, which is a bummer, but what are you going to do? If I could find Infinity models easily, I'd kit bash those bad boys. They're all metal, though. That makes it a little harder for me. I have a hard time cutting. Like, you really need to be using, like, some serious tools to cut metal models, I find. I forgot about the 3 Hive Scum boxes I got. That makes 10. Sure, yeah. 30 Space Marines, or 30K Space Marines are really good for kit bashing. The size isn't too big and you come up with some really neat stuff. Yeah, I've done some stuff with them. I took a 30K Space Marine body, didn't put the backpack on, didn't put the shoulder pads on. Otherwise, just built the body, you know, and the legs and the gun and all that stuff. And then gave him and this is a very simple kit bash in that I left some stuff off and then put a different head on. But I still think head swaps are kit bashing. Hot take. But I put an alien gray head on him. So it was like the alien gray was in power armor, because otherwise they're like supposed to be 4 foot tall and kind of weedy. But you put him in power armor and you're like, oh, well, that's a different story, isn't it? But yeah. Ambots are very cool. Ambots are very cool. They're great models. I gave them an award one year for the TMAs. Horus Heresy Solar Auxiliary are a nice kit too. I've seen Ash Waste Nomad into Heretic Legion. The Solar, I have a box of Solar Auxiliary as well, because exactly the same thing. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That could be a good for kit bashing. Horus Heresy. Forces of Cult Mechanicum? I don't even know. I don't know what force this stupid Forces of the Emperor. No. All right. Nice work. Solar. Here we go. I bought this box. I did not pay $82 for it. I'll tell you that for free. I bought this box a while back. But these guys are also pretty good for kit bashing, because you can either use their heads on other bodies for just cool stuff, or swap things around, change guns, stuff like that. You know, you have to get a little, have to do some cutting, because like everything from GW, it's a hot mess. Oh yeah, now your torso is 5 pieces. Get out of here. I'm just like, why do these legs have to be separate? Like, I get it. I understand what they're doing. The reason that they do this, and some people are like, oh, they do it so you can't copy it and you can't do, it's harder for the Japanese recast, or not Japanese, Chinese recasts, whatever, recasts in general. I honestly believe, from a manufacturing standpoint, they can make the models more detailed when, okay, so if you've got the legs of a thing, whatever, it's a dude, whatever, some sort of space dude or whatever, if the legs and the torso are all one piece, the mold has to come together like this. So you look at this, so if you got torso and legs, you know what we're doing. You take that guy and you turn him 90 degrees and you look at him from the side and the mold comes together like this, right? Boom. To be able to make sure that the plastic can fall out of the mold, you have to have not very much detail on the sides, because anything that's like a little weird undercut on the sides of that body could get caught in the mold then. So you have to have kind of a lot of smoothness going on the sides, so when the mold comes apart, the plastic falls out. That's how that works. When they came out with the Horus Heresy Age of Darkness box set, whatever, however many years ago that was, 5-6 years ago, whatever. They had the shoulder pads that had the studded shoulder pads. The studded shoulder pads were 2 parts. Now, for years, they've had studded shoulder pads sort of randomly in certain boxes and stuff like that on certain sprues. And if you looked at the shoulder pad from the side, you know, like, or whatever, not the, you know, whatever. Anyway, the side nubs that would stick out, the whatever, you know, the studs were all kind of long and stretched, and that's so that when the mold comes apart, they would slide out. So to combat that, they made those shoulder pads 2 parts so they could turn each of them. So when the mold separated, the studs, the little would, you know what I mean? It's basically so stuff doesn't get stuck. Now it's annoying because now you have to glue that shoulder pad together into 2 parts, and now you have a seam down the middle. So the question is, what's more important? Super extra detail, but now the guy's legs are 4 parts? Or would I just rather have a little bit less detail on the sides and have it be quicker to build? Well, I know the answer that I've got going on in my head, but your mileage may vary. But that's why they're doing this. The reason that they make these things so many parts now is so they can add more and more and more detail, because if you are just going to make it where the torso and the legs are all one piece, like in a Stargrave thing, right, or one of these deals, when you look at this, the sides of the model have to be very low on detail, because that mold, when it comes apart, a rubber mold can flex and the thing can kind of pop out a little bit, but steel molds, things have to pop out properly when you slide it open, and otherwise it doesn't work. So take a look at a sprue sometime next time, and where all the mold lines are, there's very little detail. Or if it is, it's detail that runs in this direction, so that when the mold slides apart, the thing can pop out. That's why they're doing that. GW is, you know. Anyway, this is not a bad box for also conversions and stuff like that. At least the heads are all predominantly one piece, which is nice. It's just annoying that, like, again, like these legs, like, why do I have to put each leg together and then glue it to a 2-piece torso and blah? It's because of the detail. That's what it is. Excuse me. Is Necromunda a fun game? I like the concept. Is there an alternative for model agnostic? I would tell you to take a look at One Page Rules. They make a game called Gang Wars, which is basically an add-on for Grimdark Future Firefight, which is their sci-fi skirmish game. That's what I would tell you to take a look at. Gang Wars from One Page Rules. So it looks like Chattanooga, Tennessee is finally getting a Warhammer store. Oh, that's neat. The one in Huntsville, Alabama, rarely has Necromunda stuff, though. That's weird. And they have wacky hours. Yeah, well, because all those GW stores are generally run by one person. Like, so if that person has to go to the bathroom, the store has to close. You know what I mean? Like, that's they don't have multiple employees. Like, if that person has to go on a dentist appointment or whatever, the store is not open. Usually, I mean, sometimes there are substitute people in the region that can, like, as a second, like, just as an extra job, like a part-time job, can just be like, yeah, I can cover your store that day when you have to go get your whatever face looked at or whatever the problem is, you know, dentist thing, maybe, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah. Injection molded puddle bases are weird and dumb. I agree. What's a puddle base? It's that little base on the bottom of some models. right there. Whoops. Sorry, you guys can't see that. There we go. Yeah, these are some fantasy models, some Frostgrave models from the folks over at North Star. And the puddle base is this little, kind of looks like he's standing in a puddle, and it's like plastic underneath his feet. Whereas, nope. Yep. Here you got these sci-fi models from same company. These are for Stargrave, and they don't have a little integrated base. So these guys kind of can't stand on their own, but you're generally gluing them to a base anyway, so it doesn't matter. Whereas these guys, nope, these guys, yep, they have a little base there, and they could stand on their own, but they kind of tip over a lot because the base is just a little oval, basically, right? So there you go. Let's see here. Witch and Up, how you doing? Got a box of head GW leftovers. Just don't say that in front of a cop. Sure. The Grave games have great kits. Yes, they do. They very much do. Neophyte hybrids are my favorite GW kit to bash. I can see that. Yeah, they're great models too. If you know a game company that needs help making models in the US, I literally have spare machine time. I run a plastic injection molding company. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the only company that I know that really does it, that I know that's doing it right now here in the States, is Wargames Atlantic. And they're based out of Georgia, the state, not the country. But yeah, yeah. Slot bases are something different. Slot bases are just like a little rectangle of between their feet, and then you have to put it into the base that has the slot cut into it. That's a different thing than a puddle base. Have some Ironwind metals battle armed with puddle bases, and I couldn't cut them, so I sanded them. Yeah. WGA makes a base that comps for the puddles. It's flat. You could probably make something else similar to print. Yeah, probably. To prove that any hobby topic can be polarizing, I saw some folks lambast a guy for wanting to remove his Wargames Atlantic puddle bases. Guess you don't care about miniature stability. Well, if you glue it to an actual round thing, it's going to be more stable than a puddle base. So yes, I guess that's the case. Jim Crimmins, how you doing? Oh dear, everything slid. I'm really behind. I'm a very bad person, and that's, you all know this. If you've been here before, you know I'm behind. Just wanted to say thank you for showing off the Lancer miniature for Arsenal I gave you at Adepticon. Absolutely. How you doing, Skullforge? Trench Crusade XCOM style would be perfect. Ooh, that would be fun. That's a good point. I don't mind puddle bases if they're flat, but when they're like 3 or 4 millimeters tall, yeah, I get you. Let's see here. When I had my office, I had 2 8-foot shelves with skulls of every sort. They're packed away waiting for shelves at home. Nice. What was your favorite Kitbash kit? Currently, I'm using TK Blood Bowl Skeleton. Oh, Tomb King. Yeah. It's a lot of different things. It's mostly stuff from, like, you know, so much of the stuff from Necromunda is spectacular. The Neophyte hybrids are great. Some of the kill teams are cool, like Sanctifiers and Navy Breachers and jazz like that. The standard Cadian shock troops are pretty dope. Pretty much everything made for Stargrave and Frostgrave, also very, very dope. And also stuff from Wargames Atlantic. Some of these models, although a little bit harder to kit bash, but they're just cool. We were talking about that as well. What else do I got going over here? Yeah, you can get printed versions from War Scenery. The Solar Auxilia dudes or whatever for Horus Heresy are about the only ones that I find really good for kit bashing. AdMech can do some really cool work too for kit bashing as well. So, let's see here. Victrix loved the puddle bases for their plastic models. They're World War II Germans, which are fantastic models, but clipping off the puddle bases will drive you mad. Yeah, I know, man. The End, how you doing? I prefer the beveled bases as well. No idea why. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I like them. Clipping off the bases leaves the bit that remains under the foot, puts your figure at the right height so that your basing doesn't get all over the feet. See, my basing is relatively, especially for sci-fi guys, my basing is very limited. Like I use the surface of the GW base as a good portion of my basing, so I don't want them like raised up on little tiny, platforms. If you put a lot of slop in there, I totally get it. It makes a little bit more sense for me with fantasy models because the way that I base all my fantasy models is I put a lot more gunk in there. But for my sci-fi guys, they're predominantly standing literally on the base of the model, and that texture that's on that is the asphalt, and then the extra little pieces I add are just extra little pieces that got added to the parking lot that they're standing in or whatever, you know what I mean? Kingdom Death Monster is not for kit bashing. They are so specific fitting that they are not really universal. It makes sense. Let's see here. Am I actually catching this live? I mean, the chat's probably not super live, but technically, yes. Picked up the God Hand clippers last night, and I wish I could have done this sooner. They work so well. I should really use mine. I still haven't used mine because I'm afraid I'm going to break them. Let's see here. Just came back from my mom's celebration of life a year after her passing in Albuquerque. Very different change of scenery from in Florida. Sure, yeah, I get that. Yeah. Started following you when you made your first wet palette tutorial. You were key in teaching me how to paint. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I hope it helped. Now I'm doing painting commissions and have come a long way. I appreciate you. Well, I appreciate that. Absolutely. Let's see here. Revolutionary War figures. My sons are big Dungeon Crawler Carl fans. I keep hearing about it, but yeah, I should check it out maybe. Let's see here. Nice day over there. Well, it got sunny all of a sudden. And whatever was falling off that tree seemed to have stopped. So that's good. Haven't done too much with the EC Lord Exultant. Emperor's Children, I assume. I've done some Zenithal painting on the Shadow Vault terrain piece. Rust effects look good. Can't wait for OSL. Nice. Drop Fleet and Drop Zone Commander. 2 players, about $100 USD. Gotcha. Scrolling. Don't slide. There we go. Finally finished the Star of Elementals I started in 2022 to go with the 2 stars of Clan Max. I gotcha. I actually have a player base for Malediction here in Sydney, Ohio. Well, that's good. Lighted, the LGS has the ability to print the minis. Oh, that's helpful. Yeah, yeah. Having fun painting the Blood Bowl gnomes. Nice. I was part of that studio audience. It was a fun show. I enjoyed doing that. Can't abide mold lines in my models. I get it. Stopped listening to so many podcasts on Spotify because they were video first and kept saying, "Wow, look at this! Like, how did you do?" Yeah, I don't know. I know I'm an old man, but yeah, podcasts are audio. That's, in my opinion, generally the case. Yeah. I appreciate that OPR went their own way with orcs, but I need my wacky orcs. That's fine. Yeah, OPR has been doing crazy stuff lately. Have you guys heard about how they're working with all kinds of other companies now to put stats for those companies' models into OPR? Like even War Machine, like there are now stats for War Machine models, so you can just bring them directly into one-page rules. So you could have your whatever, guys fighting against Kador or Signar or whatever. What's the other one? Not Signar. Cygnus? No. Whatever the blue guys are. I can't remember their name, but it definitely starts with a C. But yeah, it's really interesting to see them because they're working with, they started by working with a bunch of companies that make STLs. And then they're like, hey, you make a bunch of STLs that are cool. Would you like to have stats for them so that people can use them in one-page rules? And they're like, well, sure. But they've been adding even more stuff now, too. If you go to onepagerules.com, And you click the website thing over here, and you go to, let's say you're going to play some Grimdark Future Firefight, which is their skirmish game, right? And then you go, cool, and you go to build the army on Army Forge. So you have 3 different tabs up here at the top. You have OPR official books, and then you have creator books and community books. Community books are made by the community, strangely enough, but creator books are them working with all these different official partners. Archvillain Games, Titan Forge, Dragon Trapper's Lodge, Fleshcraft Studio, Mammoth Factory, yada, yada, yada. Mini Wargaming, Papsicles, and they're adding even more. They're adding, like I said, the most recent one that I saw that surprised me was War Machine. But like you can be like, oh, okay, cool. So what do they got going over to Mini Wargaming? Well, Mini Wargaming has their it's called Ravaged Star, I think. So you've got a creator book for their Steel Specters, and you can create a new list, and then it's 200 points, create list, and yada, yada, yada. Now, I wonder if I have to go back to, come on, did it, oh, I jumped, new window? It did. Build on Army Forge, nope, not Grimdark Future Firefight. I bet you I have to use Grimdark Future, and then go to here, build your army. And then go to creator books. No, they don't have it in here yet. So it must be coming, but they're gonna, like I said, they're gonna be adding War Machine and some other stuff as well. So that's pretty cool. Daka, Battle Yak, iDemo Games, again, Papsicles. And they make all kinds of cool stuff. So anyway, I think it's just really interesting that they're working with a lot of other companies as partners to say, hey, we'll make, either you can make them or we can make them using the tools, crank out stuff so that people can be like, I have these cool models, and then just be able to use them in Grimdark Future games and Grimdark Future Firefight or Army, or was it Age of Fantasy Skirmish, Age of Fantasy Regiments, which is basically the rank and flank style game. So yeah. You'd think a company would try not to compete with GW, but manufacture like they do. It's like they have LED TVs and so many companies are stuck with CRT. I don't know what that means. Just saw that Lou Zoki had passed away. Oh, I had no idea. Yeah, when I first met him, he was old. So he lived a long time. Gosh, I hadn't heard about that. Lou Zoki was he started Game Science. They were a company that made a lot of things, but one of the main things they did is they made dice that were very accurate because they weren't, normal dice are tumbled. Like they come out of a mold and they have sharp edges, and then they go into this machine kind of like a rock tumbler, and it kind of tumbles them. And when they do that, they have a tendency to kind of become a little bit uneven. And so back in the day when I used to first start going to Gen Con back in the 90s, his booth would always have like 10 like 20-siders of his right next to 20 10-siders, no, 10 20-siders of his next to 10 20-siders from other manufacturers, Chessex, TSR, all these different things. And he would have them all lined up. And, or no, he would do 2 at a time. So he'd have 2 stacks of 10 of his, and they would be the exact same height. And then 2 stacks of 10 20-siders from TSR, and they wouldn't be the same height. And then 2 Chessex, and they wouldn't be the same height. But it was because his dice were sharp and untumbled, and they stayed the right size, or whatever the deal was. He also invented the 100-sided die. So there's that too. He called me one time. God, this was back sometime between 2007 and 2010, because I remember the call. I remember the apartment we lived in when he called. But like out of nowhere, he called me. And at the time, I didn't have the YouTube channel or anything like that, but I was running a small little convention here in town that was a general tabletop convention. It was not tabletop just miniatures like Tabletop Minions Expo, TMX is, which is coming up the 13th and 14th of June. You should check out the website if you want to. Just go to tabletopminions.org and you'll find it. But I used to run a convention here in town called OshCon, and it was just board games and role-playing games and miniature games and card games and all that jazz. And he saw the website and he was like, I'm going to be in the area for my high school reunion. And I was at the same time, and I was just wondering if there's a way that, like, basically he was asking me to, like, have him as a guest at the event. And because I was a web designer, my website was good enough that he thought that it was a much bigger convention than it was. And I was like, oh, well, we've chatted at Gen Con and stuff in the past. I've been a customer at your booth and things like that and everything. I mean, I don't expect you to remember me, but I remember you. And I'm like, but our convention, like at the time, the convention was like 200 people. And he's like, oh, really? He's like, well, the website makes it look like it's a lot bigger. And I'm like, well, I'm a web designer by trade. And so I can make a decent website, and more so than make a decent convention, I guess. So yeah, but I do remember him calling. That I don't know how he found the number. That was the strange thing, is that, yeah. But we did not have him as a guest because we didn't have that kind of money. Guy on Facebook showed how one of the Marine miniatures had part of his shoulder pad rim modeled on his body, and you had to slot the rest of the pad behind it. Too bad if you bought upgrade screws. Yeah, that's no fun. Heavy mechanized models are decent sculpture design miniatures. They're like the special units casted in resin and the cast 3D printed. Oh, I'm sorry. Put the Red Corsairs upgrades on the breachers, and they turned out amazing. Nice. Feisty Crab Man, how you doing? Oh, the yard work. I'm not doing any yard work. I'm good. Eldar are very spindly compared to others. Also true. Agree on the aesthetics of Malediction. A little too modern, D&D looking, too clean. It really caught on in the local group, and the gameplay is really fun. Got to go with what gets played, I guess. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that, like I said, nobody that I know runs it around here at all, and that's fine. But for me, I want it to do well, because I like the concept of a game that's predominantly 3D printed. I feel like eventually, if they really want it to do well, they're going to have to start probably actually making models for people to buy. But yeah. The Blooded are getting reboxed for mainline 40K. Oh, no kidding. Wow. I understand the prices of kill teams. Took a while to order my second kit of SOB novitiates, including Karskins. The Blooded are in normal Chaos 40K now. No kidding. Oh, maybe that's where they got lost to. Interesting. It makes sense. They're cool models. Cheers from Finland. Got some of Darkwater chaff done this week. Kind of lost interest after trying the game and noticing it sucks. I've heard not great things about it, unfortunately, but the models look cool. Sam Lenz, he made a video, it went live yesterday, that was all about painting a lot of the stuff, and it's really cool. Picked up some Kitsune miniatures, fox humanoids from Zombicide. Oh, there you go. Some kill teams come with tokens now to justify the price hike. Yeah. Those Renegade Brutes look cool. Nice. War Scenery has a My Manufactory page. Makes sense, I suppose, yeah. Let's see here. The old Empire kits, closest thing I've found to those Victus minis and Reptilian Overlords on My Manufactory. Sure. I'd love to start making kit bashing videos. I make Studio Ghibli orcs. Well, that's kind of interesting. GW's move to monopose models has soured me on their newer models. I get that too, for sure. Kit bashing always felt very cool, but it also felt like I'd be buying 3 boxes to create only one. That is the problem, sort of. The trick is, I think, is that, like, every once in a while I'll see a video that'd be like, wow, this guy cost how much? Because he's like using 16 different boxes or something like that. And you're like, well, but the trick is to, like, every once in a while you buy a box knowing that it's going to be good for kit bashing. And then when it's time to use it, you're not like having to go out and buy, you're building based off of the stuff that you already have in your collection. You're still building a collection. You're still spending money. And I get that. But if you go, oh, I'm going to build this specific thing, I'm going to go to the store and buy 6 boxes to make it happen, don't do that, please. That's not a good idea. The problem is every once in a while I see people do that, especially when some kit bashing videos, they'll be like, oh, I bought this box and this box and this box and this box so I could do this. And like for me, every once in a while, like, yeah, like I said, I just recently bought another Cawdor box because I'm like, well, I know I'm going to use these parts. And it was there. And I was like, you know, but I don't usually go out to buy stuff for a specific project. I buy things once in a while and they have a tendency to sit on them, not physically, but sit on them for a while until the time comes to actually be able to pull them out and make them happen. But yeah. You know by chance how kit bashable Star Wars Legion kits are? The only ones I've ever built are the original Empire guys, and they were not crazy kit bashable, but not terrible, I guess. Like, you know, I built like a lot of the stormtroopers and stuff like that. They were basically head, torso, and body were all, or head, torso, and legs were all one part. And then the arms were a separate part, but they're already attached to the guns. So you just kind of glued their shoulders to their, and that was it. And it was really fast and easy. And you could do a squad of 7 stormtroopers in about 30 minutes, which was perfect in my opinion. But yeah, started Photoshop on version 5. Nice. Let's see here. Biggest issue with Blender as a Maya native. I've not used Maya. I've heard of it. Is that a lot of the core functionality is not built into the foundation of 3D manipulation. Used Blender to give a cultist a flamer once. It is a process. Yeah. I was originally taught Maya, and I found Blender easy to pick up, but I didn't use it until after they had a major overhaul in the UI. I think it was 2.8 or something. They're on 5 now. Yeah, they are. They're in the 5s. Super glue of choice for 3D prints. Lately, I use Gorilla Gel. No, Gorilla Regular, I think. It has a green cap. I think it has a green cap or a blue cap. It's either green or blue. I don't know. But that's what I generally use. I've been using Blender since the mid-2000s, and I still find it complicated at times. Yeah. Sea of Thieves was a fun game. I watched a few streamers play the game back in the day. Yeah, I used to love it, and then I just haven't played it in a long time. Picked up a bunch of Frostgrave kits for D&D. Makes sense. There's Cultist Knights now, or coming out soon. Yeah, I'm going to have to definitely order those. If you have a 3D printer and want some animal heads, I have those on my mini factory. Lately, whenever I get a kit, when I have Dave print me some stuff, I'll just be like, also just, can you just run me a plate of heads too? Because then he'll give me like the models and then also a little baggie just full of heads, because I'm collecting heads for cool stuff for basically all that kind of stuff. Cultist 3 has a chainsaw bit. I think I remember seeing that. Yes, just picked up Cultist Knights the other day. Wonderful kit for bashes. Oh yeah. Nick and Joe. There you go. Nick and Joe were super nice to talk to. Yeah, they were super nice. I talked to them for a good amount of time. Have you gotten any Mantic kits? I love the zombies. I had Mantic zombies back in the day, and I have an old box of Rebels maybe for their sci-fi line. I've painted some Enforcers and some Plague from the original Dead Zone box. And then most recent thing I've painted from them has been Halo guys. I painted 4 like Spartans in one color and 4 Spartans in another color from the Recon box, or whatever it's called. Let's see here. I miss the old GW Death Rattle boxes. Oh, sure, yeah. Need to get the undercuts in the right place. Yep. Thought the Solar Command Squad would make a cool Inquisitor kit bash. I could see that maybe, yeah. Sprue engineering is complicated. It is, but I just wonder if they're not overcomplicating it and then making it difficult to making it so I'm not as interested in building their models anymore. When I look at the sprues and I'm like, oh God, you know what I mean? Like the worst was still when I was trying to build those, I think they're called suppressors, or the guy with the jump packs, and they were in the original Dark Angel Combat Patrol. Each of their backpacks was 11 parts. And I was like, get out of here. Just stop it. Yeah. Those new Relic Blade plastic models are so awesome. I never got a chance to see them at Adepticon. I got to maybe order some if I can. All right. I think that's pretty much about it. Blooded Kill Team comes with an upgrade sprue. That's what goes out of print, like Kill Team Krieg. Interesting. Yeah. The Krieg one, yeah, they had extra stuff too in comparison to the regular old Krieg. Well, folks, it's a little bit after 11 here in my neck of the woods, and I appreciate you folks hanging out with me today. I hope that you have a good rest of your day. In some situations, it'll be the rest of your weekend. In some situations, it'll be the rest of your Monday. Depends on where you live, I suppose. If you get the chance, do some kit bashing. You know, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, I talked about a bunch of different companies here that make all kinds of cool kit bashing parts. And Wargames Atlantic, also awesome stuff. Didn't even barely get to them, but they make a lot of stuff. They make a lot of like historical stuff that you can give laser guns and weird robot heads to and things like that. But they also make other really awesome stuff. Sci-fi. They've got an entire sci-fi line of great models as well. So they all work pretty well together for the most part, and that's a lot of fun. So we'll see you folks again soon. I will be continuing to work on the layout for Repent, Ye Foolish Gods. The hope is to have it sent out for its initial proof mid this week is probably the best bet. Originally, the plan was tomorrow, but I don't think that's going to happen. And anyway, we moved the date. Usually the game comes out at the last Friday in May, and because TMX is bumped up another week because of scheduling, we're going to have it the first Friday in June. So the game will come out June 5th, Friday, June 5th, 2026. And so we've got a little bit extra time, which is good because I need it. And yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, stay safe. And thanks for watching.